Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, madam.
How are you this afternoon?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Well, too. My
Okay.
slide is loading. It's almost ready.
Okay.
Okay. So yesterday I promised to send the replay and then an activity for for you to practice. Unfortunately, I couldn't because of my device.
Okay.
So that was why I couldn't send it. But I sent the replay earlier this morning. So
I
we'll
saw
work
it.
with the practice question. We'll do that together now before we proceed. So here the practice question. Okay, so here is the first page. We have 2 pages. So the instruction says, fill in the blanks with the most appropriate auxiliary verb from the options provided in parentheses. So please give it a shot, sir.
Okay. Number one, could you please pass the salt?
Yes, correct. For more.
Finish the report by tomorrow. I might finish the report by tomorrow.
Okay. So might, unlikely hypothesis. I might finish it by tomorrow. So if I say I may finish it by tomorrow, that is likely possibility. Okay. Number 3.
Okay, man, let me just get something clear here now.
Okay.
May and might. The difference is the higher possibility, right?
Okay, the first difference is their tenses, present and past.
Exactly.
That is the first difference. Then another difference is they have when they talk about possibility is the likeliness or unlikeliness of the possibility.
So in that case now, present or past doesn't matter.
Yes. In that case, it doesn't matter the tenses.
Okay.
Okay. So number 3,
Okay, she has a beautiful singing voice.
correct. Number 4,
They had already left when we arrived.
correct. 5,
Did you go to the store yesterday?
yeah, because of yesterday, did. Correct. Number 6,
Does he play? Does he play the piano?
yes, singular subject.
Yeah.
Number 7,
The weather is nice. We might go to the beach if the weather is nice.
yes, same as I think number 2, where we talked about may or might.
Yeah.
Then number 8,
Could you lift this? Can you lift this heavy box?
yeah. So you're asking about the ability. But
Yes.
if I say could, then I'm trying to make it a polite request.
Okay, that is to say both are correct.
Yes, but different meaning. Just like
Yeah.
we said about may and might. May
Yeah.
is present, might is past, can present, could past. But also when we talk about other things, can specifically talks about ability. So if I say, can you carry, can you
Mm.
lift this heavy box? Means do you have the energy? Is it not too big for you? Something like that. But if I say,
Yeah.
could you lift this heavy box? I'm requesting
Asking you
that
to,
you
yeah.
help me lift it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 9,
I have seen that movie before.
correct. First person singular.
Yeah.
Number 10,
He did his homework last night.
yeah, past tense.
Last year.
Number 12, number 11, excuse me.
If he tried harder, he could succeed.
Great. If it tried,
Yeah.
tried is past, so it has to
Yeah.
be past as well. Then number 12,
They like to dance. Do they like to dance?
absolutely correct. Okay, so I
Yeah.
think we're clear about the
Yeah.
first part of auxiliary verb. So we'll
Yeah.
conclude auxiliary verb today. So we'll move to learning about will and would, and of course should, shall, must, and all other auxiliary verbs that we have. So I'll start with will and would. So just like we saw in can and could, as well as may and might, will talks about future tense. If
But
you remember,
excuse
we're
me,
talking about tenses.
in can and
Yes,
could,
please. Yes, please.
when we are talking of possibility,
Yes.
we don't mind whether it's present or past.
Yes.
But could is
What? Go ahead.
Generally used for the past.
Yes, generally, could talks about past
The
tense.
past. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, no. Now you're talking about possibilities. That is may
Yes.
and might, not could.
Okay.
It is may and might that talks about possibility, not can and could.
Okay, could and could is ability.
Yes.
Okay.
Ability.
Yeah,
Why
so
possibility is may and might.
might,
So when
yeah.
we talk about may and might, considering the possibility of something happening, we do not focus on whether it is past or present. Instead, we focus on likely possibility or unlikely possibility.
Okay.
So I might go to church tomorrow. I may go to church tomorrow. So I may go to church tomorrow is looking more like I will be in church. I might. I don't think so. I'm not sure at all. But I may.
Okay.
I have at least a 90% possibility of being there. I might, perhaps
Yeah.
30%. So should I proceed with will and
Okay, yes.
will and would? Okay. So will, just like we said, can is used for present. May is used for present. Will is mostly for future. It talks about things that would happen in the future. It could talk about promises that would happen in the future. You could talk about decisions that would happen in the future, but will mainly focus on the future. So for example, I will help you with your homework. I will. So perhaps your daughter just returned from school and said, I have this homework, I like it. Okay, I will help you. We're not doing it now, but when you're ready to do it, I will be there to help. Future promise. Another example, I will take the bus to work today. So today, maybe I stated this example very early in the morning when I woke up around 6 a.m., but I'll be on my way to work at about 9 a.m. So I will take the bus today instead of the train. So when we're talking about something that
Okay,
would
madam.
happen in the
Okay, right now
future,
this case now is just like, can you say I will take the bus to? Can you say I will?
I would, but I use would instead of will.
Yes.
Yes, there are instances where you could also switch would and will, just like we could use may and might or can and could. Yes. So
Yeah.
there are instances where I can use would. Would is usually preferred to event of the future in past tense. Event of the future, excuse me, but in past tense. So for example, if I'm talking about something in the future, but I'm talking about it in past tense, I would rather use would.
Okay.
Why, if it's just the future, it doesn't have anything to do with the past tense, I would use will. We'll get there. When I keep on explaining, you would understand better when we can use both, we can interchange both to have the same meaning. But mostly
Oh.
we would say that would is the past form of will. The same way could would be the past form of can.
Okay.
Okay. So we could have other examples with will. Sometimes we could also use will to talk about what people want to do or what they are willing to do. We can also be used for offers or request. So mainly, will is used in the future tense to talk about promises, to talk about offers, requests, or what you are willing to do. Now, would. Would is the past form of will. So it is usually used to talk about the past. Sometimes we can also use it to talk about the hypothesis. That is when you imagine something. When you imagine something, I can decide to use would to show that it's an imagination. It's not something that would happen. For example, I would give you a lift. I would give you a lift, but my wife has the car today. Or it would be very expensive to travel at the moment. So these are hypotheses. You're just imagining. You have not checked. You're not sure if it would really be expensive, but you just feel with few information or with few things you've heard, so you feel like it would be expensive to travel at the moment. I would give you a lift, but my wife has the car today. So if I was the one driving today, I would give you a lift, but unfortunately, I'm not the one driving. We also use would for conditionals. I would give her a call if I could find her number. The condition there is if I could find her number. That means if I can't find her number, I will not give her a call. You would lose weight if you took more exercises. If I had the money, I'd buy a new car. Conditioners. So when you're talking about what will happen before another thing would happen, we use would.
Okay.
For example, I would make the country better if I could become the president. So if I'm not the president, I will not make the country better until I become president before I can make it better. So one has to happen before the other happen. So in conditioners, we could also use would.
Okay.
And of course, for polite request or when you want to be more polite, we use would as well. So for example, Dan would help you if you asked him. Dan would help you if you asked him. That means it would have helped if you had asked. So when you want something to be more polite, we also use would. Now, there are some instances where we could use will instead of would. So for example, for more polite requests now, if it's not in the past tense, I would say something like, Dan will help you if you ask him. Let me write out the two sentences. Dan will help you if you ask him. Dan would help if you asked him. So take notes, though both sentences, there's an agreement between the two verbs. Where I used will, the conditional sentence there used ask, both in the same tense, present tense. In the second sentence, I used would, and the other verb, asked, is in the past form, just like would. So there has to be an agreement first. Second, the meaning differs. Dan will help you if you ask him. That means if you ask Dan to help you do something, he will. You have not done that thing. Maybe you're talking to another person and telling the person I need help. And the person is saying, oh, unfortunately, I will not be around. But you can try Dan. He will help you if you ask him. Now, the other sentence, Dan would help you if you asked him. So you're done doing what you wanted to do, but now you're complaining that you did it all alone. And I'm saying, oh, sorry about that. But if you had asked Dan, he would have helped you. It's the same as Dan would help you if you asked him. It means that if you had...
Okay. What about if you say, Dan will help you if you ask him, not asked, just ask him.
That's wrong now.
Okay.
Yes, that's because the verbs aren't in the same form. Remember, when we learned past tense, we talked about verbs being in the same
you also said that there are times this would and could, irrespective of whether it's past or present, we could also use them in certain instances.
Okay, yes, but not in this kind of a sentence.
Okay.
Not in this kind of a sentence. The part where you must make the verb tenses equal or of the same form is important.
Okay.
So, for example, a sentence like, I would love to eat rice. I would love to eat rice. I will love to eat rice. Now look at these two sentences. The first one, then will help you. If I want to break the sentence into two different sentences, I would have one, then will help you. And I would have another one, if you ask him. This is one compound sentence that can be broken into two different sentences. So if without this conjunction here, this sentence is one, but of course it can become two. Dan will help you. It makes a sense on its own. Oh, but he didn't help me. That's if you ask him, that's when he would help you. It makes a sentence on its own. So one sentence, Dan will help you if you ask him, can make two sentences, even though it's one. Such sentences are called compound sentences. Now, this other sentence here, I would love to eat rice. This is just one sentence. I can divide it into two. So in this sentence, I would love to eat rice. These two verbs don't have to be in the same verb form. But for this one, because this sentence can be divided into two different sentences, without the help of the conjunction, I can have two different sentences. Then the verb form in the first sentence must be the same as the verb form in the second sentence. Is it clear, sir?
Okay, yes, I understand now.
So the sentence, I would love to eat rice. I will love to eat rice. I can use would and will interchangeably in these two sentences. But in the first two sentences, I can't just switch them. If I must switch them, then the second verb there, because it's a compound sentence, must agree. So if I'm changing my will to would, then I have to change ask to asked. Same way, if I'm changing would to will, I have to change asked to ask.
Okay. It's
You
clear
get
now.
it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we can have such sentences like that, but it depends on whether it's a compound sentence or it's not a compound sentence. Now, expressions with would you mind? Now, some people might say something like, would you mind carrying this for me? Would you carry this for me, please? Now, these two sentences have the same meaning. Would you mind? the first sentence. Would you mind carrying this for me? Would you carry this for me?
But now, when you say,
Yes,
will you
please.
carry this for me? Or would you mind? Will you mind is like, okay, will you carry this for me? Okay, okay, they are the same. They are the same. It's more or less asking the question, but yeah.
Yes,
You
you're
carry it for
asking a
me.
question.
Yeah,
They have the
yeah,
same
yeah.
meaning, but
Yes.
their usage is not the same. The way we use them is not the same. So pay attention to mind in the first sentence.
Yeah.
So because of the mind here, the verb, the next verb should be in the progressive form, ing form. Would you mind carrying this for me? Would you mind sitting beside me? Would you mind sharing your toy? Would you mind going to the meeting? Would you mind leaving us alone? So would you mind, we use it to ask somebody politely to do something for us. Would you mind? But once you have mind, the next verb should be in the ing form. Would you mind coming to the office on Sunday? Now it's different from would you come to the office on Sunday? Now, would you come to the office on Sunday is also used to ask polite request. Now, you would also realize that these two sentences do not pay attention to whether it is past tense or future tense.
Yeah.
About polite request now. So asking, would you carry this for me? It's also polite, but take note of carry now, not in the ing form. So if there is mind there, the next verb, excuse me, the next verb should be in the ing form. But if it's just would you, the next verb should be in this base form. Would you mind learning with us? Would you learn with us? Same thing. I'm trying to achieve the same thing, polite request. But my use of words differ. So now let's do a summary of when to use will and would. So first, will is used for future tense to make promises, to make offers, to give advice, etc. Also, when you use will or would in a compound sentence, they must agree with the next verb to be in the same form. Now, would is the past form of will. However, would, of course, can also be used for polite request. But when you add the word mind, would you mind? The next verb should be in the ing form. So do you have questions about would and will?
I think I understand it clearly now.
So let's talk about polite request generally now. So when we are asking polite request in English, there are different auxiliary verbs that can help. One of them is may. May is preferred in formal situations. Could can also be used to make polite request or polite permission, and then would. So you realize that could and would are in their past form. But when you're making such polite request, we do not mind whether it's past form or present form. It just helps us to sound more polite. And we use it more in formal settings. But others can is used for abilities. We don't use it for request. We don't use it for permission. It's mainly for ability.
Okay.
May can be used for request, to ask polite requests. And then we have will. Will is used for future tenses. So is this clear, sir?
Yeah, it's clear.
Very well. So let's quickly take a short exercise to practice this. So, all right, let's just take 2 sentences. Because the next class, I want us to move to another type of verbs. So I dash offer you. So number 1, what do you think the answer would be? Should it be would or will?
I would.
Would. Why did you prefer would?
What about if you say, because you said the option you gave was would or will, right?
Yes.
Okay, because would is in the past. Because
Very well.
yeah,
In
would
the
is in the
past,
past.
okay, in the
Yeah.
past. And then this is also a compound sentence. So it means that the verb here is also in the past, ate.
8, yeah.
Okay. So you wanted to ask a question.
What about if you said I could offer you some birthday cake, but we ate all at the party yesterday?
I will, right?
Okay.
Are you saying
No,
will?
no,
Did you
no,
say
no, no,
I
no.
will?
Not will, not
Okay.
will.
Okay.
Could.
I could. Okay. I
Yeah.
could. Okay. So if I put could, then it would be I could have offered.
Okay, good. Yes, I
Offer
thought of
here
it
will
that way.
be in
That's
the
why I asked
past
the question.
tense.
Yes.
Okay. So that
Yeah.
can go too, but offer would be affected.
Okay.
Okay, let's take one more sentence rather. Okay. So let's take this.
If you give me your number, I will call you tomorrow.
Okay. So why did you prefer will?
Because I'm sure I will call you tomorrow and it's in the past.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's in future.
Is in future. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that works. That makes sense. Yes. But I can also say, if you give me your number, I would call you tomorrow. Conditional sentence. The condition is if you give me your number, that's when I can call. Both are correct, but I'm telling you the difference, the meaning when it comes to using will or would. If you give me a number, I will call you tomorrow. Assurance that I will call you
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you give me your number, I would call you tomorrow. So it's only if I have your number that I would be able to call. So let's assume you're trying to convince someone to release their number.
Okay.
So I would rather go for would. If you give me the number, I would call you tomorrow and we can fine-tune the proposal, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, great. So let's move to should and shall. So just like every other auxiliary verbs we have learned, should is mainly used, mainly used to talk about action that would happen in the past. Shall is used to talk about actions that would happen in the future. Shall. Sorry. It's used to talk about action that would happen in the future. So I shall go to the supermarket in the evening. We shall be arriving around noon tomorrow. Airline passengers shall depart late So you're talking about something that will happen in the future, something you're certain. Let's pay attention to that part. Something you're certain. Shall expresses certainty. Just expresses certainty. Shall is also used for ideas related to rules or laws. So when we're talking about the rules, for example, only travelers are allowed to get to the departure area or the arrival area. That's just what it is in the airport. So that's like a rule or law. So when we're talking about rules, when we're talking about laws, obligation, we use shall. We also use shall to talk about something that we are certain of. It is also used to talk about something that will happen, something that will happen in the future, just like we have will. So we have more example, like we shall go to church tomorrow, etc. Now, should, quite simple to use. Should is used to express duty. You should worship God. You should be at work at 8 a.m. every day. Your duty, what you're expected to do, we use should to talk about that. Should can also be seen as the past form of shall. So sometimes when we want to talk about some things in the past that requires should, that requires shall, we should also feel free to use the word should. One very important thing about should is used to give suggestions or ideas or advice. So it shows to the person that you're not trying to put your own ideas into their head. So you're just making a suggestion. So during a meeting, I feel we should, instead of let's do this. For example, maybe we're trying a new strategy. So if I'm trying to present my ideas, I'd rather go for words like should. Should the organization try out this? I believe would make more sales or will be able to reach more markets, etc. So shall and should are quite straightforward. Let me go over that again. Shall, we use it for certainty. When you're certain about something, we use shall. Also, we use shall to talk about rules. Excuse me. Also, we use shall to talk about rules about a place. So, for example, I'm trying to think of something, an example. This area shouldn't be reached by those that aren't staff. So we're talking about a rule or a law that is for shall. And also lastly, shall is used in the future to talk about something that would happen in the future. I shall travel next year. Why should? Should can be the past form of shall, and then should is used to talk about duty or obligation of someone. It is also used to give advice, suggestion, or recommendation. So shall and should, they're quite straightforward. They are not so complicated. Do you have questions about that?
So you said should is a past tense of shall.
Yes.
But not always, right?
Not always. Yes, I stated that. Sometimes it can serve as the past tense of shall. It is also important to know that shall is preferred in formal writing, like in legal documents. We use more of shall instead of should. Shall the prosecutor do this, blah, 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 blah. So we use shall more in formal writing. May I proceed?
Okay.
Then lastly, we have must. How to use must in sentences. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, please. I need to get water.
Okay.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so we have must and better. May I proceed?
Okay, let's go ahead.
So must is used to express necessity. And most times we say must and have to that have similar meanings. I must attend the meeting. I have to attend the meeting. So we can say must and have to have similar meanings. So both are used to express necessity. So must then also we have some form of must. We have must do. I must do this. Must be. I must be there. We also have must you. We use must you for question. Must you attend the meeting? Yes, I must attend the meeting. So mainly must is used to express necessity, and we have several forms of must do, must be, must you. Another word to interchange must with would be have to. I have to learn to speak better. I must learn to speak better. To see. All employees must wear their identification card or identification badge. All employees have to wear an identification badge. Passengers have to remain seated all times. Passengers must remain seated all times. Students must not eat during class or in the library. Students, okay, yes. So when we use must not now, we cannot use have to. So like the example, students must not eat or drink in the library. So I cannot say students have to not. So we can change must with, we can change must not with have to. We can only change must with have to.
Hello. You are breaking, please. Can't hear you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Apologies.
Okay.
So I was explaining how to use must not. Earlier, I said we could interchange must with have to.
Have to. Yeah.
When we add the word not, it becomes impossible to use the word must not, to use the word have to rather.
Okay.
So must can be the same as have to. But when we use must not, we cannot use have to.
It's
So
clear.
it is say that I don't have to, you don't have to, we don't have to, it's a C. But we cannot use that to replace must not. So, is there any other auxiliary verb that we've not spoke about? Give me a few seconds, please. Let me check the list of auxiliary verbs. Be, to have, okay, so we have successfully talked about all the auxiliary verbs in English. Do you have any question around any of these?
Which one is there here? Can't cool them, me,
One.
mine. Should we? Yes.
Which one, sir?
I'm seeing there. I don't understand why this there is here. Can't cool there.
Okay, how to use there? D-A-R-E. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, we skipped that. I didn't even see it. Okay, yes, we can use there in sentences. For example, there can act as different figure of speech, or should I say different parts of speech. But the first entry is there is also a verb, and it's an auxiliary verb.
Is it a modal auxiliary verb?
Yes, it's an auxiliary verb. It's a modal auxiliary verb. It is used to mean to be sufficiently courage to do something.
Yes,
It
I
can
know.
also be an intransitive verb. It could be a transitive verb. It depends on how you use it in a sentence. But most times when it is used as a verb, it is acting as an auxiliary verb. And we could have different forms of dear. So the base form is dear. We could have it in past tense, deared. We can have it in present participle, dearing. So we could have examples like no one dared to say a word. She dare not let her mother see her. So dare is quite straightforward to use anyway.
Yes.
Try it if you dare. So it can also be intransitive verb or transitive verb. When we learn transitive and intransitive verb, we'll explore more about how it is used as intransitive verb or transitive verb.
Okay.
So do you have any other question?
On for now.
Okay. So I would send a set of questions that would cover all the auxiliary verbs we have, both the main verbs, main auxiliary verbs, and the modal auxiliary verb. So you can work around it to see how much you have understood it. Should you have any question in the process, please feel free to ask.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So, okay. Aside from Thursday and Friday and Saturday, this coming week, do you have any other day you like us to meet? I think I have a lot of time on my hand next week.
On Monday.
Okay, what time? Morning, afternoon?
Maybe from 11.
11. Okay. Let's meet by 11
Okay.
on Monday. Okay, thank you, sir. Have a great afternoon.
All right. Thank you,
Oh,
too.
excuse me. Sorry, I have a class for 11 already.
For Monday?
I have a class for 11 on Monday. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you're available 11 until evening.
No, until let me see, 4.
4 p.m.
Mm.
Okay, let me confirm if my client will be available. Then I can get back to you if 11 would work, or I would choose another time.
Okay. All right.
Okay, have a great afternoon, sir. The
All
replay will
right.
be
You too.
sent shortly. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.